It's game 1 of Battle Arena. Battle Arena is hosted by the Trinity Force Network every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. We play 3 games at 7, 8, and 9, and it's for players Gold 1 and below to receive feedback on their gameplay to help them improve and climb through the ranks. We also have Bronze Boot Camp Saturdays, noon Eastern Time. 3 games as well. It's for players Silver 5 and below, so if you are lower elo, it's a little bit more of a safe place. I think that's mostly it for Battle Arena and Bronze Boot Camp. If you're interested, head over to TrinityForceNetwork.com, hit the Battle Arena tab. There's information, links to everything, and links to sign-up sheets. Also, check out Trinity Force Network on Twitter. Check out TrinityForceNetwork.com, and there's a lot of stuff going on both of them. Recently released LCS Rundown episode on the quarterfinals, and there's an episode 284 Forward to Victory, where we discuss patch 5.14, and I believe tomorrow morning or probably today, if you're watching the replay, the episode 285 will be up as well, and we discuss the defensive thing itemization changes, so I would check that out as well.
Yeah.
Alright, so bans seem pretty standard. I don't know, nothing that sticks out to me. I don't know about Rengar ban and low elo, but
yeah.
Or
I mean, I've definitely seen my fair share of people carry hard with Rengar. It's actually not the easiest thing to do, so I don't know. If I were to see it, it's just usually not something I see worth banning. But hey, you can ban it if you want. You're in charge.
You are in charge. And first picking Sion. Generally, I say this a lot, but the 2 things I look for in pick ban, because I think it's the most important thing is picking champions you're comfortable on. I don't get too into it, but picking champions that are really susceptible to getting counterpicked, or picking like purposely into a bad matchup, are 2 things I try and shy away from. And Sion has some difficult lanes now. He can't push people out of lane after the E mana cost nerf, and if they aren't a melee champion, he can't Q them. Like, he really struggles in those lanes now. So, I don't know how much I like the first pick Sion. That being said, Sion's one of those champions, if you're comfortable on him, then, so once we sign up, what's next? Once you sign up, you'll get an invite to the game you signed up to. We sent all the invites out for the first game at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. If you want to play in the 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. Eastern Time games, we give people who haven't played priority, so you'll get into one of those games.
Alright. So, like,
Ben.
is Olaf one of those? I guess this would be a jungle pick. It would be a jungle Olaf. I was thinking if he goes into Sion, that kind of doesn't really.
Sion struggles in that matchup just because he can't like do enough damage to deal with Olaf's sustain.
Olaf's dueling prowess.
And Silent Mark with a 3, 2 something, a lot of zeros and a 9. If you signed up, you are good. You will get an invite to either the second or third game. Feel free to hang around and chat until then. If you have any questions about the game or what's going on in general, if anybody in Twitch chat does, feel free to ask.
Yeah. Quick picks here: Thresh and Volibear. Thresh is okay. He's an awesome flex pick in that he can fit almost any composition and kind of really fit in well.
I don't like
it's just,
picking Thresh in a Vayne.
Yeah, End of Vayne is but at the same time he's a pretty heavily skill dependent character. Like, it's always a skill matchup, I feel like how Ahri is in mid lane, where it's like, well, how well do you play Ahri and can you outplay the other person? I feel it's the same way with Thresh. It's your skill on the champion that's really good to determine how well you do. But
you always do want the odds in your favor, though, and no matter how skilled you are on Thresh, if the Vayne has any idea of what's going on, she should be able to dodge most of your hooks.
yeah,
Sona, though,
the tumble is really what gives her the advantage in that matchup, her ability to dodge the hook. Yeah.
Sona struggles into Thresh, though. Like, in a straight up 2v2, Sona can do okay in some lanes, but Thresh offers so much gank assist, and they have Volibear and Sion. Like, this is a really scary game to play Sona. Like, if Volibear gets lanterned, then you die. Unless you flash.
Yeah.
But, alright, what is the question? Silent Mark? Feel free to just ask the question. You don't have to.
Yeah, just go ahead.
Let me know that you have a question. Thank you, though. And Maokai to sign. That's a farm lane. And essentially both of those champions do the same thing. Do you have to click?
I think you have, haven't you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have the paperwork to do it in cows and horses. I've taken AI courses in both. Better start feeding. So, I really don't like the Katarina pick here. Cat into Xerath isn't... It's a pretty hard lane for Cat, all things considered.
And there's, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4 ways her ultimate can be interrupted, it looks like.
All Xerath has to do here is he can't, like, waste Q. If he uses his... not Q, he can't waste stun. It might...
Yeah.
Yeah. If he wastes stun here in this matchup, then, like... Oh, I'm not going to talk about it because it's switched.
Yeah. Fizz has an easier time.
Jinx Thresh on the van. Yeah, we'll wait until stuff is picked then to talk about Lance Azir. He's still good after the nerfs. You actually have to be good at him now, though.
Yeah.
Alright, so lanes. Maokai versus Sion's a farm lane. I really don't expect either of them to have a lot of pressure. I expect both of them to do camp start. Maokai doesn't have to do camp start. The Sion really should do camp start. But pretty boring matchup in top, in all honesty. They can both cancel each other's teleports too, which is pretty important note. So they both have TP pressure on each other, but they both have a lot of like ganking potential with teleport. I think Sion's better again after the Dead Man's Plate. I think Dead Man's Plate's really strong on Sion.
Yeah, I've only played against it once, and that was a jungle Shin that ran in and was very successful on it, so I'm not exactly too sure, but it does seem like a pretty it's like an alternative to Sunfire Cape almost, I feel like, in terms of an early armor health item.
Yeah, a lot of people want armor and health, but if you want armor and health right now, you have to build Sunfire, which is kind of a crappy item. And you have to build Randuin's, which is not like the greatest landing item. On these champions that want to roam around the map like Sion and Shen and stuff like that, just being able to actually itemize into health and armor and not like feel bad about it and get like a little bit of extra damage too is pretty strong. Crush Cow, this will be on T-Force Podcast 2 for the third game. 4 Wards goes live on this channel at 9:30 Eastern Time. So we usually do 2 games on this channel, then switch to T-Force Podcast 2 for the last game.
Yeah.
So I think Dr. Mundo with Dead Man's Plate's actually really strong right now too.
Oh yeah, that would work out pretty well.
Spirit Visage and Dead Man's, and Spirit Visage just got buffed, or it will be in the next patch.
It's not as nerfed as heavily. Oh no, yeah, it gets buffed. That's right. All MR items kind of do. Yeah.
So
yeah, going back to bot lane, I mean Sona can things can kind of harass Vayne really effectively too.
Yeah, Sona and Vayne has a chance to win this lane. If the Thresh gets pink wards though, he can remove that chance pretty easily. If you're playing against Vayne, I'd say this in most of my replays, but really want to get pink wards so you can just like flay her and not miss flay when she goes into ult tumble. But like pre-6, if Thresh hits anything, they should win the lane. If Volibear ever comes bottom, all he has to do is flash hook or flash flay. Usually flash flay is safer because the flay animation's fast and you can flash a flash hook.
And yeah, and it makes your landing your hook a lot easier too. Did you want to talk about mid lane? I know you were waiting to.
Oh, Xerath Azir. I mean, it's 2 skill shot champions. Anytime 2 skill shot champions. I mean, Azir's not a skill shot champion, but he's a high skill cap champion.
He's weird, yeah. Like, you gotta direct the Q, but then you have to get your right click mechanics involved as well.
It's a skill matchup. The only like real note I have for mid lane is the Azir's playing against a Volibear, so he really needs to like try and freeze around like in front of his tower and respect the fact that he's playing against Volibear, where like Xerath isn't gonna struggle as much from Olaf. Especially now that like Azir doesn't have knockup, he really doesn't have any gank assist pre-6. So, or you can just be a Thresh god and predict everything. Yeah, Tuco's Thresh. Played with it a few times. Watch these Sonic keys. Alright. So, jungle matchup, Volibear against Olaf. Pretty even in 2v2s until Olaf gets items. Volibear's a better ganker early, but Olaf can gank early, and Olaf does outscale.
Yeah.
Volibear's kind of like, the reason he's never been a meta jungle pick is he really has issues in mobility mid to late game. But the thing Volibear's never had an issue with is like ganking lanes. He's really, really good at ganking lanes early.
He's stupidly good at it, even if he gets just like starts up with a red buff.
Mm-hmm.
As long as he gets level 2, he can really be a, because he usually starts out with his slow anyways for a camp, just to fear him. But yeah.
And screen will be black for 1 second. I'm sorry, I lost my scene. Alright, rip.
Well, they're pretty even. I think it'll be an even matchup. They're even in skins. So, so you guys out there, after you've seen the teams and what they've picked, go ahead and type out who you think is gonna win. If you think red team is gonna win, type in Team Coke Zero. If you think blue team is gonna win, type in Team Diet Coke.
I want to pick what team is gonna win before we decide. I think. Give me a second to think. I think the team on top is gonna win.
I think that's blue team.
Blue team. I picked blue team.
Alright, Team Diet Coke, Volibear, Thresh, Xerath, and Team Coke Zero. With the Vayne, Azir, Sona. Yeah, I like it. So yeah, let us know what you guys think. If you think we're missing something, or if you're like, hey, this matchup, what do you think about that? Go ahead and type it out. But yeah.
I think the top team has like, they have good gank assist spot. They have Volibear to carry them through early game, and they have like Sion and Volibear ganks to carry them through mid game. Then late game they have 2 tanks, Thresh and Xerath Jinx.
Yeah,
as long as it's a strong comp.
Yeah. I don't see anybody really, like the only person I can see really getting to Xerath is Olaf.
Especially if they buy Pinks against Vayne. Vayne's good at killing tanks, but like Vayne needs time. And if you just Pink Ward Vayne out, she really has issues right now unless you're Vayne God. Mid disrupting the Sion camp. I think it's okay. I've also seen mid laners get 5-man trying to do it, so it depends at what elo you're playing at. But it depends. If you can safely do it, it's okay. I see a lot of times Maokai like will start a camp like in his jungle, and then he'll walk by the second camp and like throw a sapling or something. Because Sion tries to start in the other guy's jungle a lot. Once in a while I'll find it. I don't really think it's worth it though. I think it's just safer to start in your jungle. I don't see why you don't just do camp start.
Yeah, I do like that Olaf and Strucy's point out Olaf and Mao can dive, but it's they don't have much peel besides Maokai and Azir ult, I guess.
Yeah, I mean Vayne doesn't need that much. Vayne's kind of one of those champions, either she wants a lot of peel or she doesn't like need that much. Vayne's weird.
Yeah.
The only time you should like need peel on Vayne is if you can't die when you're playing well. If you're playing well and you're dodging stuff and you're still dying because they're pink warding you and stuff, then you need peel. But like one of the biggest issues I see with Vayne players is they like tank 8 skill shots or tumble forward, then complain about peel, and not really a big fan of that.
Are they loaded into the game yet for you?
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. I'm in now.
Whoa. Alright, so everybody's buying stuff at level 1, going through the runes, just making sure Stalker doesn't have 80 AP. Pretty good page by Stalker, actually. Hawkeye's 33, I'm not really sure how he gets that mid lane. See,
here, let me,
AP Quince, Maokai, Vayne, Olaf, Sion, Thresh. That's just 52 AD. I'm not a huge fan of that. I'm also not a huge fan against like Coin, especially against Sona. I think you really want the sustain. And against Sona, you really want health because a lot of time in 2v2, like a Sona Vayne lane can go for the support and just ignite you and exhaust the Jinx and ignore her. So, really want that base health.
Yeah, it looks like Magic Pin and Ability Power running on Maokai. Do you still think attack speed reds are really good on him, even in top lane?
Yeah, way better.
Yeah.
Anyone want to go Vayne spotting? Yeah, so Maokai top, usually you want attack speed reds. They just synergize with this kit really well. And he doesn't get that much from Magic Pen. He should be auto-attacking a lot in lane. But he is really awkward auto-attack spacing, too. The Jinx also took Chompers level 1 for that, so that's iffy. I'm not too sure about that, but if I were the Vayne Sona, I would punish them really bad level 1. Sona has one of the strongest level 1s in the game, and you know that Jinx started Chompers, so I would punish that. Another note too, when Olaf got punished there's around 1 minute, I would try and stop recall and push him back. If he doesn't recall by like 119 or 120, then he's gonna miss camp or he's gonna be at camp late. So like if you chunk someone and it's between 1 and 120, the best thing you can do is stop recall, as long as you have a few people there. Alright. Wow, Sion is getting the other team's red. I'd rage quit if I was Shenlong.
Yeah, that is one thing that top laner can do to help out his junglers drop a ward, especially against Sion. He's one you have to watch out for this, is just to drop a ward or stay around your own jungler's buff and maybe sneak in. You can either be sneaky and steal a kill there, get first blood, or you can just chase him away and prevent him from doing it.
How long does sapling last? 35? You can just top sapling there at like 145 before you go to lane. It's Maokai that you should be warding that too. So like, I don't know, Maokai maybe ward rates and toss sapling on red. So like ward rates at 1 and then toss sapling at red at like right before you go to lane at like 140. Or one or the other, you don't have to do both. So it looks like Jinx and Thresh did get chunked out really hard. One of the things that Thresh did is as soon as he got to lane, he missed hook. As soon as you miss hook, you're in threat of dying. Not dying. You no longer have threat in lane. Tuka, you have a lot of reverb.
Yeah.
Good gank by Volibear.
It was.
That's kind of what I talked about. Like, Volibear Thresh is really hard to deal with.
Sorry about that. Something came up, but yeah, that was. I missed that whole talk about Thresh. That was a good game though.
Just it's the same thing I was talking about on Thresh. As soon as you miss the skill, you no longer have threat in lane. And if you walk into lane at level 1 and just miss hook, you instantly lose level 2 because they can do whatever they want with the wave for 12 or 15 seconds. 19. Holy shit.
That's another thing to keep in mind if you ever play Morgana support is if you miss binding, your pressure in lane is gone. Just something to keep in mind.
Morg isn't as bad. In some matchups, she can just pull an auto attack. She's not Blitz or Thresh bad. Blitz is like the worst.
Yeah.
Just like I would say, if you get to lane really early in level 1. If you miss, like, I don't know. If you're gonna go for a hook, you need to be really sure you're gonna hit it. That early in the game, like, if you miss any skill, you lose level 2. And if you lose level 2, it's pretty easy to lose lane.
Yeah.
So Volibear went Swifties after 2 ganks. He really should have gone tier 1 boots and a jungle item. Not only are Swifties a bad boot choice on Volibear. Whoa. The upgraded smite would give him 30 extra gold in every camp. And you could argue that he wants Swifties to gank a lot. If he wants to gank a lot, Mobies are a much better choice here.
So, I do like his actions and choices of where to gank has been pretty spot on so far.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless of the item choice, but I didn't see how that kill happened, but
GG Volibear getting fed. Yeah. So he did go to challenging Smite and Ruby Crystal. That's good. I would say if I was jungling here, I would just get 1 health push and a green ward and a sweeper. Because if you get 3 ganks off this early, you're going to start to get warded out. And just having a ward so you can pressure if you do get warded out, and having sweeper to prevent getting warded out is pretty important.
Man, he is all over the map right now.
Good gang. Another one.
If you have a Volibear, Thresh can skip over Righteous Glory, right? Wow.
Thresh usually doesn't get... I really don't see Thresh get Righteous Glory. In teamfights, if Thresh doesn't land like a game-breaking monster hook to start a fight, he's usually peeling. He's not somebody who goes into a fight with Righteous Glory. I honestly can't say I've ever seen a game in solo queue where Thresh has gone Glory.
It's not. It's just not a very essential item on him. There's a lot more useful items you can get.
If you really wanted it, you would get Talisman. So Volibear kind of needs to respect his teleport here. Rip.
Oh. Oh, that sounds in a bad spot now.
So I'm not sure whether Sion TP'd so much later. Also, if you're on Sion and you like miss your ult like that, stop as soon as you miss it and like
you can still get a pretty ridiculous slow if you stop right next to him.
Wow, Sona heal.
And also Vayne used her heal too, I believe, to help stop that. Oh, there's the hook.
Wow, that's a really good twisted advance. Probably still die, but heads up play.
Everybody bot lane. Except for Azir. He's gonna push mid.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much I agree with this. It's not a terrible play though.
Yeah. Hopefully Xerath can see this pink and walk right through it.
The biggest thing is like when Roam's early game punish you pretty hard if you don't get anything. And even if they do get something, you can stay relatively even in CS. But if the other guy roams on you once or twice and you're still down in CS, you're in a really bad position as a mid laner. About 29 at the 8:45 mark. Should be approaching about 75-ish. So,
yeah.
Missing about 2/3 of his CS and ouch.
Oh, wow.
Man, that Xerath does so much damage going Rod first. I don't know how much I agree with Rod first on Xerath. It's kind of a greedy buy. And you can get really punished if you miss a few skill shots because you don't have mana regen. But if you just one-shot the other mid laner like that, it's pretty strong.
Yeah. Looks like Olaf might be gone. No. Just gonna ward up Dragon area and walk back into his jungle.
So Olaf is maxing Q. That's pretty standard. What else do we have?
Pick up your axe, dog.
So another good gank by Volibear.
One thing I would like to say for Olaf after that chain of events, you can, even if it takes you half a second to go out of your way to pick up that axe, it's usually worth it just so you can keep reapplying the slow onto the enemy.
Your team just fought too bot lane. Even if your laner didn't die there, you had vision of Xerath walking over this pink. You really should have like gone down for 3v3. I know it didn't turn to 3v3, but just a lot of plays kind of happened bot lane there. And as a jungler, if you don't have the ability to react what's going on like the map, you will really struggle.
Ooh.
I don't really know much else to say besides look at the mini map.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you struggle mechanically to look at the minimap, using F keys and spacebar to, like, F keys target your teammates and you can rearrange them down the scoreboard, and then using spacebar to recenter to yourself is probably the easiest way to do it.
Oh, force the flash, but I don't think it's gonna be enough.
That's a really good play, and that's kind of how you want to do it on Volibear. Is if you know that they may have flash, don't blow your stuff right away.
Yeah. I will say that was a really good knockup from Maokai to interrupt the Q from Sion. That saved his bacon right there, but...
Of course, it's gonna make me his CS god. I mean, in all honesty, everybody in this game is TSing pretty poorly. The Sion isn't too bad, considering he TP'd down and died once, and he started late with camp. I think the max he could have right now is around 90.
Yeah.
But everybody else is doing pretty poorly. So, Stalker, really good item buys. This is pretty core on his support. Mobies, Sightstone, Spell Thieves. Wow. Once again, you really want to go for the flash fly. Also, you want to not flay them forward if possible.
Yeah, if you flame backwards, you hit them earlier. I guess, if that makes sense. Yeah, the flay starts right at them if you go backwards and they're in front of you. It's a little backwards, but it'll hit.
So Vayne is splitting skills a little bit. I don't mind this. If your daggers are really delayed, like, putting points in W is only good once you get attack speed. And sometimes people do it preemptively because they know they're gonna get attack speed, but I don't know. I mostly go IEBT with Keymax on Vayne at this point.
I'm thinking that Sona didn't have enough mana for ultimate there.
Yeah, I don't think she did either. And that's something you get used to if you play every champion a lot. Like, I could go through Sona really quickly, and you want 155 on Sona, or you want 235. 155 for your full damage combo, Crescendo and Q. Hopefully with the power core too, and an auto attack, and you'll get a lot of damage there. Or you can do the full damage combo with one heal, which is 235. Ideally in Sona, every time you go for a Q, you should be auto-attacking before it and auto-attacking afterwards.
Yeah, auto, Q, auto.
A lot of times too, if you really want to force an extended trade, you go auto Q, auto, then you do the, wow, I can't think of it right now, W, then you auto again. So you have the shield and you're kind of forcing an extended trade. Especially if they have CS they need to hit. They really don't have an option to trade back. But looks like Team Diet Coke is gonna win.
Maybe.
So if Team Coke Zero wants to come back, what do you think they need to do right here?
Protect Vayne. She's the one who does. She's I guess I thought she was gonna be the farthest one ahead, but.
The team with Volibear on it is Team Diet Coke. It's the team I picked. And the other team is Team Coke Zero.
Just gotta believe that Coke Zero can make it back. Oh, like that whole fight went south just because of an Azir misplay. He dashed back into the fight instead of out of it and had to use flash and ulti right when Volibear flashed over that ultimate, so a little unfortunate, but it started because of the misplay of dashing into, I think it was Sion in mid lane when he meant to get out.
So speaking of Sion, is there anything that stands out to you right here?
Wait, stands out at
for Sion.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, Black Cleaver, don't buy that on him. Yeah, you do like the health and CDR on Sion, it's nice, but to apply the stacks to shred armor, you have to apply physical damage, and the only thing that does that for Sion is his Q. His W, his E, and I don't know if his ult applies.
His ult's physical too.
His ult's physical too, yeah. But you just don't have a lot of options to apply that shred, and you're not gonna be able to get full use out of it.
You also just want like effective tankiness against this team. The Frozen Heart's easily your best option here. You have Olaf, who's an auto attacker, Azir, who actually struggles against Frozen Heart more than most AP mages, and Vayne. And Heart does really well against Bork.
Ooh.
Health items don't do that well against Bork. Rip.
Wow.
Rip.
Yeah, it's looking a little rough for Team Coke Zero here. They're just a little too far behind. Nice Azir ultimate though.
Heart also has a lot of mana. It's usually Sion's go-to against physical champions.
Really handy.
Sion works really well with Jinx. Yes, Sion works with a lot of people. I think Sion's really underrated, and I think he is one of those tops that can carry pretty hard in solo queue. The way top lane is, at least from where I understand it, is it's kind of hard to get solo kills unless people mess up.
Yeah.
And like the people who can affect the map the most mid game are the ones carrying the most.
Yeah, I still see Sick Mushroom play Sion top pretty regularly. He uses him pretty effectively. A lot more effective than champs such as Garen.
I think, yeah, Garen's the worst champ in the game.
But, yeah.
They're removing the one thing he can do decently too. I mean, they might buff the rest of his kit enough to make him okay.
They've changed it so many times on the PB, I don't even know what they're doing anymore.
So the one thing Garen's okay at right now is like flash silencing people.
Yeah.
Because they can't flash for 2.5 seconds, and oftentimes you can do something. But Xerath needs 100 mana. He's trying to get it. Look at him. Makai, you need to CC him. He's running up for 100 mana. Rip.
Oh, there it is.
Alright, so as Makai there, you need to like respect what Xerath is trying to do. You try to get mana, and walk up to him and Twisted Advance. Not only can you Twisted Advance if you Q, I think you can knock him out of ult.
I'm pretty sure you can. Yeah.
So, Stalker flashed on the wall because he flashed from here. Usually just click to the closest tree and then make sure your mouse gets halfway through the wall and you'll make it. You can do 3/4 if you're not confident too. It really like doesn't matter that much. So, it looks like Sion is going for Volibear is going for Sunfire Cape. It's unique, so it doesn't work with Cinderhulk. He really shouldn't be building it.
Oh, yeah.
So, Sunfire Cape and Cinderhulk do not stack.
They do not.
Also, would really like to see a sweeper out of Volibear. And the other team's starting to deal with him a little bit more. He's starting to, like, struggle with the fact that he's not smiting raptors and he's not getting red trinket. But good job by them getting out. The only thing they really need to worry about is like dragon contest. The other team can't really outscale in the mid game, and that's like the biggest reason I picked blue team. Is I think mid game is really important in solo queue.
It is.
And I didn't really think they had a good mid game. Olaf jungle is good, but it kind of struggles with itemization, where you either go like 1 damage, 1 tank, and you have a weird mid game unless you get really fed, or you can go 2 tank and you don't really do that much damage mid game. I don't mind, like Warrior into Randuin's is actually a pretty good power spike mid game if you play Jungle Sion. Although you give up a lot of late game with it. So Cinderhook's still usually better.
Oh, he's gonna take that in. Nice, Sona ult.
Man, you need to condemn instantly there. Yeah. Olaf was tanking tower, he like should have died. Thresh, you need to hit abilities in a team fight. Box. Oh, he already used it.
Both flashes blown.
So blue team's really struggling with the fact that the Thresh is a really weak champion in team fights unless he hits his abilities. If he hits a lot of abilities, he's one of the strongest champions in the game in team fights. But they kind of ran in and he missed everything.
Yeah, one of my favorite supports to play if you want to play someone who's more CC oriented is Braum. Because if all else fails in a team fight, you just gotta throw one auto attack on a couple different people and you get that passive applied on everybody. But
There's also a Chain Vest. I don't know what Chain Vest builds into as a support. Trick question, it doesn't build into anything. I think he's going towards Sunfire Cape. If you really want armor on Thresh, get the Frozen Heart.
Frozen, yeah.
I think it's almost always Frozen unless you're already at 40% CDR. Thresh really needs 40% CDR to be effective in team fights. Oh, Zion. Wow.
Oh, he has no mana. The Xerath has no mana.
So I kind of talked about earlier the Xerath getting punished for not having mana regen in his build. We actually did get to see it there.
Yeah.
And actually in that entire team fight, he was pretty much out of mana. If you're a jungler and you see this and your mid laner's 3-0-3, you really need to be giving him blues. Actually, if your Xerath is like even 2-0-2 or 1-0-1, you're giving him blues on Volibear.
Ooh. He does the damage. He just can't do it for a whole team fight.
The other concerning thing for me here... Oh, Dead Man's Plate. Alright, that's fine on Jungle Volibear.
Yeah.
I forgot about that item. Because it's new.
Alright. And
So,
it helps a lot.
I don't like Dead Man's Plate on Thresh, though. I still think you need CDR on Mikhail's here. The other concerning thing for me, too, is the red team just placed a bunch of pink wards. And they're buying a lot of pink wards. They're not playing against a stealth champ. And it's still really good that they buy pinks.
Azir's a little far forward.
Yeah, he is.
His team there. Yeah.
But the blue team needs to be the one chaining pinks and upgraded sweepers. They're playing against Vayne. And as you said earlier, Vayne is most of their damage right now. Wow. So Vayne, when you go for an execute right there on Xerath, I don't know if you would have killed him or not, but just E him on the third auto for extra damage. Some of those really close kills, like once in a while you'll get them.
Alright. I gotta move that chat up. There we go.
So Xerath is going for a mana regen item. And this is like not very normal. Usually when you play Xerath, you go for the mana regen and then the Ludens if you want to go for Ludens. That being said, Ludens has been changed a lot since it was originally built on Xerath and Ziggs second all the time. And it's more for mobile champions. Xerath really doesn't benefit from the move speed much, and I think there are other second items that are better. Death Cap's probably the big one.
Oh, here we go, red team collapsing. They don't have Vayne, Azir's really gonna need to step, and Azir's not there either.
So
They're tanky, and they got some nice utility, but they don't have the damage to do anything.
no, they don't. So Stalker flashed too. If you're playing Sona, like don't flash ult if you're already on top of them.
There's the Vayne. Ooh.
Alright.
He's dead though.
Rip.
Yeah, the red team was very aggressive. Like, they thought, I think Azir was almost with them at the beginning of that, and then he went in a different direction. It was a good decision if they had just either Azir or Vayne there to finish off a kill.
Yep, and it's always important to remember that, like, no, even if you have numbers advantage or it's a 2v2, like mid to late game, you need damage to kill people. That's like a big mistake I see in lower elo. Is like people like a support and a tank will be chasing someone.
Yeah, they see that catch out potential, but they don't. Yeah, you have to have the damage to finish the job. Dear, whose teleport is up? Either. Maokai's is up. Okay. Someone's gonna have to go deal with that Scion eventually. It's about pushing.
So Sona's rushing the early locket. I actually like that quite a bit. Or Banner. But she's getting an Aegis early. I like that quite a bit here. The Xerath is really fed. And if you're playing against like magic damage, especially magic damage that's fed, the earlier you get it, the better.
Yep.
20 MR goes a lot further before Void Staff. Ooh. Really need to buy pinks for Vayne though. She kind of almost got away in that team fight. RP. You know you're ahead when your team can focus Maokai.
Okay, is your ult down?
The Olaf and the Maokai don't. Like, both need glory too. One of them should. The Olaf really would like Deadman's play here. Olaf also doesn't have boots. When you're playing a melee champion that really relies on move speed, having boots.
You need them very much so, yeah.
He also Ragnarok.
Yeah, the move speed from Ragnarok also only lasts for like a half second. It's not enough to overcome your boot disability.
Well, at least we know Xerath doesn't scripting. So, the blue team is pushing.
Red team really should be backing off here, I feel like. There's no reason for them to be this far forward.
As soon as Maokai shows top, the blue team kind of gets to do what they want a little bit more. That being said, Xerath is low. Yeah.
Yeah, he's low and out of mana. But, like, yeah, they're really far ahead, and Sion can just run up and do that. Like, they didn't have a tower to fall back to in the case he did ult them.
Yep, and this is one of the reasons this talking Stalker needs to not use flash unless, like, he actually needs to use flash to ult. The ult range in Sona is pretty long. If you get into a team fight like that and you don't have flash, they can just, like, pick you whenever they want. And if you see a Sona, like, constantly flash ulting all game, well, what is Sion doing?
Maokai needs to see that half his team is backing, and he's about to...
Rip.
Yeah.
There's so much CC. Jinx has got God comp.
Yeah, she can just sit back and have her way, but it's all about knowing what your teammates are doing.
So, the Maokai showing top isn't as bad because you have to respect TP. Olaf, as soon as you show top there, they dive your team. Like, creeps are wards. When you do that, you lose all pressure on the map. Especially if you already have people on your team that are dead. You just, like... You need to make either, like, have the ability to make a play on the map, which you can't there because you have no threat to take tower. Unless you're there for, like, 4 minutes. Or, like, defend. Sometimes you can trade, though. But you didn't have a trade.
That was interesting there, like, or I should say Team Diet Coke got a whole bunch of kills there in those last, like, 2.5, 3 minutes. But they weren't able to take a tower or Baron or anything. I'm kind of surprised they weren't able to do that, but I guess the death timers just aren't long enough quite yet. Yeah,
Xerath just finished his Morelos and bought a Needless, so I expect them to take something relatively soon. Jinx also finished PD and got Pickaxe.
Oh boy.
Alright, so pretty big mistake out of Jinx's part. You don't want to sell your Doran's Blade for a long sword.
No, you don't.
No.
The health you get, the health from the item itself and the health you get back on hit is way more valuable.
Map is too big for overlay. We'll look into it after the game.
I want to. It looks like both Maokai and Olaf are going for Frozen Heart. And they both have Righteous Glory.
They're copying each other's builds. They've even like lined them up at the same.
It's like not the very worst thing in the world, but it's. You know,
2 glories when you're behind is pretty bad.
In addition to paying attention to where your teammates are, you need to be paying attention to what they build. Are they gonna get this?
Wow.
Wow, if they need it back and run. That wall. Sonnen, use your speed boost on everybody. On everybody. Use your ult if you have to. Alright, wow. Nice decision there by Team Coke Zero.
Pretty big error out of blue team too. So, like, when you guys siege here, you need to respect that as soon as you back, what plays do the other team have? The plays are Dragon if it's up and Baron if it's up. Baron was up right there and nobody walked out and warded Baron and then recalled. Or nobody even warded the entrance or the jungle. So, like, when you go for a siege, either, like, recall as quickly as you can and try and get there in a timely manner, or ward it out.
Yeah, you at least need to drop some wards on that.
Baron's a pretty big comeback mechanic because of how much EXP it gives and the fact that it gives gold. And the fact that if you're losing and you get Baron, the other team can't get Baron again for 7 minutes to kill you.
You can stall the game out so easy if you have it. It's gonna be so hard for the other team to push into these waves.
Olaf has boots, yay. So I wonder what Sion is building. Looks like Volibear's building Randuin. It's a pretty good buy on him now.
Okay, yeah, that'll work out.
If I were him, I'd go Randuin's Thornmail probably. Thornmail punishes Blade pretty bad.
Mm-hmm.
And when you go Thornmail against somebody's Blade, a lot of times they'll want to go BT, and then you can just punish them for double lifesteal. Double lifesteal usually means no defensive, or you skip IE.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can't skip Last Whisper. Are you interested? Like, Vayne has two choices in her build right now. She can either go Last Whisper and try and kill tanks, or she can go IE and try to outplay carries. I would probably go IE here.
Yeah?
I think if you kill tanks, your team is just going to lose because they're all behind. You need to try and 1v9.
Try to get some Vayne spotting points. Oh, that crit. Wow.
Wow. So Vayne, you might want to fight here. I know it looks like a really bad fight and you're likely to die, but
He needs to be a little more aggressive, yeah.
yeah, this is also like the best fight your team is going to get.
Yeah. Whoa.
That isn't terrible though. You really should use Scrying Orb over this wall to see where they are, but it's kind of hard when you're in that fight or flight situation. I try not to drill people as much during team fights because it's kind of hard to concentrate during a team fight, but like the more macro oriented stuff is just not paying attention, and that was more of a team fight thing. Sona has Locket and she finished her thing.
Alright.
If I were blue team, I would just stack armor here. I don't know why Sion's going for a magic resist item.
Yeah.
The Azir 082 with 100 CS.
Yeah, and he has Blast and Wand as like yeah, he's really far behind.
You could even go Heart and like Sweeto counter Azir and still, counter the rest of them.
Yeah.
How much health does he have? 3,000. I would just get Thornmail. I would just go double Thornmail and say screw Vayne.
Yeah, her life isn't gonna be very happy here pretty
Overlay is really frustrating. Alright, we'll get rid of it. There you guys go. No overlay. We'll do what we can to fix it. We did miss his Aerith count Azir, so you want to tell us what happened there?
I was watching the Sona
the
hooked. That was just them getting caught up by a hook. I don't know what happened, but looked like you had to use ulti though.
It looked like I don't even know how Azir got here. I'm just gonna say overextend.
Yeah.
So Jinx is going for Blade of the Ring King. Not really what she wants to build here. There's some health on the other team, but there's a lot of armor, and Blade doesn't do well against armor. And she just wants the survivability from BT. Like, Blade passive can't crit either, BT can crit. Once you have 3 items, you rarely go Blade. Rip.
That was really good of Sion knock up there. That secured it. Yeah. Vayne is like doing okay, but it was just like she dashed into a Q at one point, and it's just tough.
Yeah, No matter how good you are at Bane, like eventually you're gonna get hit by a skill shot, and if nobody else in your team is doing damage, you're put in a pretty tough situation. Azir, my man.
Oh.
He got Ignite off at least.
There it is. Oh, you're a little ahead of me. Alright, there we go.
Alright. So Sion's trying to backdoor. I'm not a huge fan of this. I think the risk reward for a play like this is pretty bad. Like, I don't know, you're probably gonna get tower there, but the dragon's live in 20 seconds, and it's 5th dragon. Or Baron, rip.
Yeah. Yeah, blue team's pinging it because they know this time that it's a possibility.
If I was blue team, I wouldn't start it. I would just hold until Sion's gonna get there, and then like try and make a play. You already have 4 dragons. You've no reason to throw. I've been playing Kennen support, and I've been just upgrading my yellow trinket instead of Sightstones. Is this okay? I don't think that's okay on a support. I think that early game on support is so important that you can get punished by not having vision on the map.
Yeah.
So, like, it seems okay, and they're pretty close to equivalent once you actually get the yellow totem. But if you lose like a dragon, or if you get ganked once or twice because you were greedy and didn't get that Sightstone early, I mean, you can put yourself in a really difficult situation. Sightstone's also like a gold per 10 too, so the earlier you get it, the better. And then your team lacks sweeper in the late game. Would you say it's okay to buy Sightstone at 9 and sell it? No, like I said earlier, Sightstone's kind of a gold per 10.
Yeah.
And like selling it, you're losing a lot of its effectiveness. And the health on it's good too. Like once you've bought it, there's no reason.
Could have just gone straight to Baron here. And it looks like they'll be able to get a kill, but that's a lot of time. And I guess they're not gonna even bother with Baron.
I like this play. I don't think there's any reason to do Baron.
Yeah.
I think you could go Baron now. I'm not too sure about ending. So when you end, the 2 biggest things to tab for are like if people are coming up, and if the people coming up have home guards. And for the people
needs to be a little closer. There we go. There we go. Get in there. Focusing the right target. Good job. She almost pulled it off.
Wow, the snipe.
Yeah.
So Volibear accidentally flinging the wrong target there. Once again, not having upgraded sweeper and pink ward, he got punished a little bit. He's still gonna win, but it is just really important to do that to stealth champions.
Yeah. Does putting a Azir turret up on an old Nexus turret prevent the Nexus from taking damage?
I have no clue. Probably not.
Alright, GG. Team Diet Coke comes out with the win. Able to snowball their mid-game power and lead from those, like, there's like 4 Volibear ganks in the beginning that all ended in kills.
So like
100% success rate. A
couple of notes before I switch to the next screen. Just generally looking at what happened in like ending this game, Blue team did a pretty good job. They took the play that was given to them and they didn't go back and do Baron when they could have ended. The really big standout thing that they really need to pay attention to is the elixirs. Nobody in their team bought elixir, and they had the 5th dragon coming up on the map, and they had a Baron to take and close out the game. And just, I mean, there's no reason to make a game last 10 minutes longer than it needs to. So, like, the next item you're building towards is kind of irrelevant in that case. Just get the elixir and win the game. And on the Sightstone discussion, too, if you buy a Sightstone... Whoa. Is my client up? No. So if you buy a yellow totem instead of Sightstone support and your team doesn't have a sweeper, especially in low elo, like, a lot of times your team's not going to have a sweeper, or they're not going to have anybody who knows how to use it. That also makes it 3, since I've been keeping track, 3 out of 3 games where the team that wards more has won. So, important note. Looking at statistics, the big ones that stand out for me are no green wards out of Maka and no green wards out of Volibear. We were just talking about the upgraded totem and the fact that you can't get it until level 9. If you can't get it until level 9 and somebody has no green wards, that means they didn't buy any green wards until level 9. It's usually your first 2 backs, and it's pretty bad to do on a jungler and top laner. The only 2 people that can have a 0 in the green ward column, occasionally AD carry and support if you get Sightstone first back. But as far as pink wards are concerned, a pretty good job out of blue team, but the Volibear, why he did a really good job, the thing he didn't do a great job with was vision control.
Yeah, vision control of the map. And I think he kind of built a lead before vision became too important in the early game. Like, the enemy team wasn't able to ward that much early. Both teams really aren't able to ward much in the first 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes, and he really took advantage of that time.
Alright, so I'm gonna run down. At the end of every battle arena, since we do have a couple people who are new here, you will see invites after prior we run down a couple of people, so keep an eye out for those if you signed up for game 2 and 3. We'll also give each person feedback, and we'll give them 2 or 3 things to improve on. If you don't catch this, or you didn't catch the game, remember that all the VODs are uploaded to YouTube, and you can check those out. TrinityForceNetwork.com, Battle Arena, and there's a YouTube link right here. Pretty easy to follow. But we'll go to the game. So we'll start with the supports. What did you see out of Thresh?
Let's see. I'm at it right now. The early chain vest was a bit suspect. Captain's boots are. I'm just like hitting on random things here, but Captain's boots are kind of nice on a couple supports. I don't know if they're really necessarily that great on Thresh. I mean, they're certainly good, but
they're not great for peeling.
Yeah, like your main tool for rescuing teammates is your lantern, and that's probably outside the sphere of influence of your Captain's boots. But I'll get 2 vision wards purchase is okay. All right. 8 wards destroyed is pretty good. And you actually upgraded your trinket for the Vayne. I think we talked about earlier, Flash Flay is really effective. And we saw level 1 kind of giving up presence in the lane by throwing a hook that caught a minion right next to you at level 1. And I feel like Sona and Vayne were able to punish. They were able to punish you a little bit in lane. But your gank assist is out of this world, so you're able to capitalize on that.
Yep, so as far as the lane goes, understanding the matchup is pretty important. Against Sona, even if you hit hook, you're probably going to get out-traded at level 1. And Sona also usually comes to lane with upgraded power cord. So like going for a Q right when you get to lane, the best case scenario is you hit Q and you get out-traded. The worst case scenario is you miss Q, you get out-traded and you lose all pressure. So like just generally understanding the lane matchup. Against Sona and Janna, you're often not going for level 1 plays as Thresh, but your 2 and 3 are really strong. Team fighting, you really need to be aware of kind of where you are and what you're doing. Either like going for hooks that are likely to hit, going for flays that are likely to hit, but if you go into a fight and a lot of your skills miss, you're probably going to lose the game. And that's kind of something you need to accept after a couple of Thresh nerfs. So either practice in a custom game with flays and hooks on some champions that are running around or something, or I don't know. Like you're going to struggle a lot on Thresh until that kind of gets fixed. And as far as build goes, you need to find CDR somewhere. Thresh really needs 30 or 40% CDR to be effective in team fights.
He really does.
And what do you think about Stalker?
He actually, his item build and way he did it was very effective. He rushed Aegis to help counter the really far ahead Xerath before he finished Talisman, which was, I thought, a pretty good move. And it looks like he was going for Mikhail's on his way to that. There's a little bit of positioning errors when going out to ward, especially when it was later in the game. And in team fights, maybe a little bit I don't know. He found himself in the middle of the fight a bit too often. Maybe staying more on the outskirts. Like your power chords aren't going to do that much late game anyway. So getting in position to throw that power chord onto Xerath or Vayne isn't going to help too much. But doing the movement or damage reduction power chord on that Volibear or Scion is going to probably help your Vayne quite a bit more. You were pointing something out earlier about Sona ult and using flash for it. Did you want to reiterate that, or?
Yeah, a couple of things. Just the range on Sona ult's pretty long. If you're already in range of Sona ult and I see you flash on top of them to use it, I'm trying to think. It's not like a punch ability. It has like maybe 700, 800 range on it. It's pretty significant. Yeah. So you don't need to flash if you don't have to flash. One thing I forgot for Thresh is you shouldn't have a Chain Vest in your inventory. You should have Elixir of Iron if you're trying to win the game. But as far as Stalker Sona is concerned, remember that you don't have to use ult as soon as the team fight starts or early in the team fight, even if it's not an amazing ult to take. Generally, 3 things you're looking for in a Sona ult in a team fight. Either, like, if you can get a good one early in the fight, take it. Like, usually you just take it, and you usually want to lead with the power chord Q. So that is good to take. If you can't get that, your ult is a really effective zoning tool, and it's also a really good, like, re-engage or counter-engage tool when people kind of overextend. You ult them when they're running at your Vayne and get 2 or 3 tanks and then kind of like go back into the fight. So remember that you can do a lot of things with ult.
In the chat, someone was saying that Sona doesn't need Ignite. Exhaust would have been better for that.
Choose no exhaust target.
Yeah, you can exhaust Volibear, I guess, but Ignite would work so much better on him, especially to help counter his passive. Ignite, I have no problems with the Ignite.
Yeah, generally Ignite's better unless you have a good exhaust target in the team fight. Exhaust would have been fine for Thresh here, and especially if you want to like pressure Vayne as hard as you can. We are just doing the supports quickly first. We'll get to you, Vayne. For Scion, you really like don't want to rush it. Black Cleaver, he only has 2 abilities that apply physical damage, and it's not very item efficient or slot efficient on Scion. Usually in Scion you're rushing and resist item first. The reason behind this is you get so much free health from Sion's kit and the fact that he has a ridiculous health per level alongside, I think it's his W. But the resistances give you a ton of effective health. So like Frozen Heart first would have been almost perfect here, and then building it to something else. The Black Cleaver is also just like difficult to use in Scion late game.
It is. Yeah.
But the rest of your build looks good. You guys struggled in a gank bot where you overextend. The Maokai teleported first. You should really be like looking to stop his teleport, or you should be teleporting at the same time as him. It's really odd for somebody to teleport 10 seconds behind the other person. And remember, if you stop your ult, it has a pretty big slow around you. So if you think you're going to miss it, just stop it.
Yeah. I don't know if it still knocks people up right next to you, but it does a really heavy slow at the very least. So making sure that you don't overextend with that ult is it'll help you out a lot.
And for chat, Ignite and Exhaust both kind of mess with your positioning as a support. You can use Exhaust when you're peeling, but exhausting a tank late game isn't really worth giving up the lane pressure you'd get from Ignite. I mean, you could always argue you'll have an exhaust target as long as there's a melee champion in the game, and you won't really have to overextend for it, but like, is exhausting a tank that takes 20 seconds to kill a target and kind of just doesn't die really that effective? Is it worth giving up lane pressure and like carrying Vayne through lane and pressuring Thresh? Not really. Volibear, biggest thing is vision control. You found a lot of good ganks. I wouldn't rush Swifties. If you're going to do that, go Mobies. I would have gone tier 2 boots, jungle item, but you could do Mobies. Yeah, cheese level 1 on Sion's fine. Just scout for it and make sure you're warding appropriately. Also, like, your vision control is really, really bad. Remember to smite Raptors, remember to upgrade Sweeper. You could have gotten to, if you rush tier 2 boots and you get 2 ganks off early and the other team actually buys wards and they recall, and you, like, aren't in a battle early in a game, you can get punished so hard, because then if you don't find ganks and they ward you out, it's really hard to clear your camps with Machete Swifties. So, either like commit to the ganks and get boots and mobility and a sweeper and a green ward in one pot instead of 3 red pots like you did, or just go tier 1 jungle item and tier 1 boots, which is kind of a more safer alternative. I like Mobius though. I kind of like going for Broke on Volibear. He's a gank machine, as we saw this game.
Yeah. His early game decision making and just like not wasting time. He didn't waste any time in which lanes he made the gank, and that's one of the biggest things I think you can do as a jungler is just when you pick something, you stick with it, and you're 100% with it.
Yeah, the ignite exhaust it doesn't matter what you exhaust unless you actually have like a really good exhaust target like Yasuo, Tryndamere, or something like that, Jax, or something that you're gonna exhaust and get a lot of effective damage exhausting in a team fight. Like lane is the most important part of the game for support. It's where you still do relative damage compared to other people. Oftentimes, if you're playing someone like Sona, you're doing more damage than AD carries, and it's kind of where you carry the game. And we're not arguing one is more effective than the other in team fight, because exhaust is almost always more effective in a team fight. The reason you don't take it is because like ignite just makes your lane phase so much better. Unless you have a good exhaust target late game, it's not worth it. So, Xerath, vision control, last hitting, and build. You should be getting CDR item before Ludens. I don't like Ludens on Xerath anymore. It's okay. You could build it, but if you do, you should be getting Morales or something first. Really got punished for not having mana. CS and warding too. If you're gonna play Xerath and you're not gonna ward out, you're not gonna get free lanes like this every game.
Yeah.
But generally, like I hate to just say last hitting, but if you play mid lane or AD carry and you can't last hit, then you kind of need to put everything aside and work on that. In Jinx too, your early lane, everybody's early lane phase besides Sion was actually pretty bad. You really need to have a you just really need to work on last hitting.
I think for the Maokai, or for.
Oh, I was doing Jinx.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Jinx, last hitting, as far as build is concerned, you should really never be getting Bork 4th on Jinx. I understand they have some health, but they also have a lot of armor, and Bork is pretty bad against armor. So, like, Bork is 8% physical, so if you just build more armor, Bork does less damage, whereas if you stack health, Bork does more damage. So you kind of need to think about like what the ratio of armor to health actually is. And the fact that like when you're 3 items in, especially with PD and not Shiv, the Bork passive can't crit, and Bork is a lot less survivability. And Bork range is also pretty hard to use on Jinx too, so there's a lot of reasons not to have it.
Yeah.
So, some questions in the chat. You guys should be getting Game 2 invites shortly.
Setting it up here.
Olaf, you really need to commit to something in your early jungle route. You really need to decide what you're going to do and where you're going to be. The Volibear would like pressure and gank top, and then like you need to start dragging or gank mid or gank bot. You need to be decisive and do something. If the other jungler is continuously making plays on the map and you're not reacting, you can get punished really hard. And if you feel that you can't make a play and your teammates aren't doing anything, like just ward his race and start making plays, attempting to make plays on the map, because at least you're warding him out to some extent then. And you'd be amazed, just like go into a couple of games jungling and drop the occasional ward on their race, and you'll have a lot more information. And you guys had a ward over there, Red Bush. You hit a pink, and you guys caught the Xerath walking down a couple of times, and like you didn't even react because you were trying to finish Scuttle Crab. Vayne, what did I see?
That's a pretty decent play, to tell the truth.
I think you can't go defensive item 4th here. When you're losing this bad, you can't go defensive item, because your team needs damage to kill them, and Azir's not going to offer that damage. I know it's ridiculous, and you're likely going to die if you don't go defensive item, but we'll look at what happens. If you don't go defensive item, the 2 alternatives are you have a ton of damage, and you have like a 10% chance to outplay them, or even 90% chance to die. If you do go defensive item, you have a 100% chance of your team not having enough damage to kill them. So, like, usually when you're playing AD carry and you're behind, going defensive item 4th is really, really tricky. So, Also, another Peter Jacket in chat is correct. Like, if you can't last hit, you need to not worry about freezing. And in all honesty, to freeze effectively, you need to be able to last hit the creeps at the lowest health possible. And to be able to do that, you need to be able to CS pretty well. Like, the two kind of go hand in hand. So, like, just worry about working on your CS before you worry about working on freezing. Once you get, like, 90 CS at 10 consistently, in a custom, or 95, then you can worry about freezing. But, like, once again, to freeze, you need to be able to last at the creeps at, like, really low health. Because if you last him at 100 health, or if you last him at 50 health, it's significantly different on how the wave pushes and how you can control the wave. And, that just requires mastery of CS. So, sorry for that tangent, but, really, like, don't want to be working on a mechanic like freezing if you're not comfortable with last hitting at all. Maokai, you struggled in lane a little bit in Sion. Once again, you just really need to work on CS. I'd recommend attack speed reds. It makes farming and doing stuff on Maokai a little bit easier.
Very much so, yeah.
The biggest thing Loft did is you need to look at each other's build and kind of coordinate who's building what, where, and why. 2 Frozen Hearts and 2 Glories is not great. So, look at that and work on last hitting. If you have 137 CS, you're just going to struggle. And if you play a tank and like your lanes kind of lose like this, you're also going to struggle. Just maximize your chances of winning. Look for better teleports on the map and work on CS. Talk on Sona. Azir. Work on last hitting. Just like get 50 more Azir games. I hate Azir is a really hard champion, and I'm not going to give this guy a ton of Azir advice until he just puts in the time, because he looked really uncomfortable, like jumping to like soldiers accidentally and throwing up random walls and stuff like that. So I have a couple of invites on friends list.
Yeah, I'm still going through the list. I'm almost done through it.
My friends list is full.
Oh, yeah.
So I can't answer questions there. I'm really sorry. And I'm not saying this to brag. I'm saying this because I genuinely feel bad I can't add everyone, because it's something I've done for like 2 years of playing League. I will always answer your questions though. So either use Twitter at HorseDoctorLol, or feel free to hop in Twitch chat and ask during Battle Arena Bronze Bootcamp. Or if you throw it in the T-Force channel on T-Force Reddit, you can do there, or message me on Reddit at JarenJones3K. So once again, I'm really sorry, but I'm not going to be able to accept these. I assume it's somebody watching Battle Arena right now, considering they're recent. And we will have a brief intermission between this game and the next game. So we'll see you guys back in about 30 or 45 seconds.